Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Fitbaw Cast.
Hello and welcome to the 37th episode of the American Fitbaw Cast. My name's Andrew and I'm your host this week. This episode actually was recorded a few weeks ago. Along with my co-host Gav and Steve, we were joined by a special guest from America. We were joined by Jamie Gillan, and here's how our interview with him went. Okay, hi, we're joined by Jamie Gillan today. Punter, coming out of college and expected to be taken in the NFL draft this year. Jamie, how are you?
I'm great, thanks.
We're delighted to have you on. So let's get straight into some questions. Our first question, obviously, the draft is 6 weeks or so away. What are your plans for draft day?
I'm just training really hard right now because I got my pro day coming up in about 3.5, 4 weeks. So I'll be going out to Los Angeles for a week and a half to continue training as well, and then do well in the pro day, and then see what happens then and see who's interested in me.
So have you got any sort of idea of who could be looking at you right now? Or do you have any insight into that yet?
Yeah, I do have a little bit of insight, but I'm not really sure I want to jinx anything yet.
Okay,
Yeah, I bet.
That's fair. That's fair. And what about, have you thought about, like, in terms of, you know, being out in LA, how are you feeling about that?
I'm really excited. My agent's getting me out there to get some specific training for the pro day, and then also get some extra training with an ex-professional punter. So it'll be nice to just get some insights to what he suggests me to do, and then also working out in a place called Exos to help me with the little things that I need to work on.
And so, in your lead up to the draft, is your pro day probably the single most important thing that happens over the next 6 weeks now?
I wouldn't really say it's the most important, but it's just a nice, it's a good way to show off other aspects of my ability. I had a combine about 2 weeks ago, and I did very well on that against other punters. And so this pro day is going to be more, I'm going to be able to show my, like, different weightlifting stuff I can do, jumping, running, and then punting in front of them too. You know, I've got really good film from college, so, you know, I can show my strength of leg there, but it would be nice to just show the other aspects of me and to meet them in person and to show what I'm like in person as well.
And so on that then, so you're probably not the standard prototypical build for a punter or a kicker because you've, you know, played a lot of rugby over here before you went over to the States. Do you think that gives you a bit of an advantage when it comes to draft season?
I think it could maybe give me an advantage, but, you know, the NFL guys, they don't really care about how much. If I can't punt, they really don't care if I can run or tackle or stuff like that. So, but for me, it's just to show them this is another aspect of my game that I can bring to you. You know, I've shown in the combine I can punt, and I'm good. In my opinion, I'm good at it. And then, you know, I've shown I've got the stats in college, and then I just got to keep showing that I'm getting better and better and better. And then, in my opinion, the most important part is going there and actually showing them in person in mini camps or whatever it is I've got to do.
So, one question I was sort of thinking about, Jamie, was so obviously we see a lot now, especially people like Johnny Hecker, you know, who throw the ball, can run with the ball. Is that something that you're comfortable in your ability to do that if you were asked to?
Oh, absolutely. I ran a couple of fakes this year. So, you know, for me, just, I guess with the rugby background, I'm not really just looking for the first down. I'm looking to, you know, score that thing. So, you know, I'm willing to do whatever. I'm willing to do whatever the coach wants me to do. So,
have you played any other positions like at high school or college? Even just like playing around in practice and stuff. Had you considered any other position?
I have, my coach wanted me to get a crack at free safety these past couple of years, but we only had me kicking at the school. Like, if I went down, there was nobody else to back me up. So they didn't want to risk injury.
Yeah, so protecting you a bit.
Yeah, and then just the team really, because if I went down, then there'd be nobody to punt the ball and nobody to kick field goals, and then nobody to kick off.
Oh my God, that's quite a lot of responsibilities on your leg.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's just the same as a rugby game, isn't it? If you're fly half, kicking to touch, kicking conversions, and starting off the game, isn't it?
That's true. And was it fly half that you played in rugby?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In terms of your college team, is there anyone else coming out in the next couple of years that you expect might make an impact in the draft?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of guys who are actually good buddies of mine who work really hard and are looking to get really good stats these next 2 years. So especially my good friend, the QB, he's a very, very talented guy. So I'm really excited to see what he can do, because he got hurt last year. He broke his finger in the second game, but he threw for, in one game, 500 and something or high 400 something yards, like 5 touchdowns. So he's got a really good arm on him, and he works really hard. So I'm excited to come back and watch him play.
Awesome. So who's that, so we can look out for him?
His name's Shannon Patrick.
Awesome.
So Jamie, one of the things that we were sort of thinking about, so you in college, obviously, like you said, you do, the kicking and the punting. Would you consider doing that if you were asked to? So doing, both positions if someone was to ask you in the NFL?
Oh, absolutely. The thing with me is I'm never going to complain about stuff like that. They could ask me to do anything. They could ask me to, if I had to go and play left guard as an offensive tackle, I might
give it a crack.
I might get right through, but I'll make my best attempt at it.
That's awesome. I think that's the sort of attitude that counts for a lot of by the sounds of it, you're willing to do anything for your team and obviously for yourself as well. So I think it's really good to hear that, and also obviously your confidence and your own ability to do that.
Oh yeah, and you gotta have, I don't want to be arrogant or, I want to be humble and everything, but I like to have confidence in my own ability and trust my process as well. So, that's just how I feel about it.
So, like, talking about that, I mean, we know you can smash a 70-yarder with like no pads on from like your Twitter feed, but does the gear interfere with that much?
I would say a tiny bit, but you get used to it. It was weird for me at first. When I played high school football for a couple of games, and I first actually, even when it came to catching the ball, because you got the face mask and stuff, it was a little bit weird. But you get used to it. So no, I really don't. I don't think so. Especially because when you wear in the next level, when they wear the pads on their legs and stuff, you notice that the punters and kickers don't really have any pads on. It's almost like wearing, a pair of compression shorts. So it's really, and they have smaller pads as well. We didn't have kicking pads or anything like that at this school, so I had big dinner plates on my shoulders, which was fun to work with.
But good for punt coverage when you were cleaning people out, though, I bet.
Yeah, it was nice having the extra pads for that.
Yeah. Is that something maybe that obviously, I think you said before to the guys on the NFL Scotland podcast that if the punt comes back, that means that something's went wrong in the kick or whatever. Is that something though that you maybe miss, the physical side of it, compared to like in rugby where you're expected to have that physical side as well?
You mean as in like
tackling? Sorry, I maybe didn't word that well. What I was meaning was like, obviously you're in rugby, you'll tackle a lot more than you would as a punter. Is that something that you ever miss, that sort of physical side of it?
Oh, every day. It was, I've been playing rugby since I was 6 years old. Like, I grew up with the ball in my hand, and in Scotland you start tackling at 8 years old, and it used to be. I played for Highland Rugby Club when I was a kid as well, and me and Bruce Used to just, one of my long-time good buddies in the rugby area, we used to just absolutely smash each other in practice just because it's fun. You know, playing boarding school and stuff, just used to, and that was my thing with playing fly half. You know, maybe not a lot of fly halves are that confident in the tackle area, but I personally love it. So I do miss that aspect and being in the game a lot more. But, you know, I've been blessed with this opportunity, and I really love this as well. I'm having a great time out here, so I can't complain. But I do miss, you know, hitting people and playing.
It's quite like when you just think of that, like it's such a strange sort of quote. Like, I miss hurting people, I miss tackling people, I miss hitting people. It's like only people in like physical sports can accept that.
When you were over here playing rugby, because you guys won the Scottish Cup when you were at Merchiston, did you not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you ever have any indication from your coaches there at how far you maybe could have gone if you didn't move out to the States?
Well, I think a lot of my buddies, when I do call them and we talk about it, a lot of them do think that they all say to themselves, if I'd stayed at rugby, they think I would have made it very high up in the rugby area. That was my life, you know, and I really enjoyed boarding school rugby, and we had a great team. I thought I was a good fly half, so I just worked very hard at it, and I loved it. So I think if I would have stayed there, I could have maybe gone pretty far up in the rugby area, but, you know, life took me over here, so it's cool. But I'm not going to forget how to play rugby. You know, I could be 35 years old and get back into it, so I'm not worried about that. But, no, this is where I am in my life right now, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking that, you know, you're talking about your school and your rugby at school, and then obviously you came out to the States and you've gone through the sort of college aspect, and I remember hearing you talk about your routine for, you know, getting up early, practicing, going to your classes, then, you know, going to practice or meetings, and then studying, homework, etc. I was just wondering about what's the sort of difference in terms of work ethic from, I guess, the UK sort of sports and education system to what the American version is? Is that something that you feel is maybe missing for the UK athletes?
I don't know, because it's a lot different out here, because high school sports is a lot bigger than club sports. So if we go back to high school level, high school football practice was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, game Friday night. Mm-hmm. Or you wouldn't practice Friday, sorry, you would do a walkthrough and then you would go in the game. You know, and when I went to Clawdon Academy, and when I played in the rugby team there for fun, because that was just fun to play with your mates, we only practiced once a week and had a game at some point. And then when I played for Highland, which was, you know, club rugby or club sports is a lot bigger in Scotland than high school. Well, from what I remember, we still only practiced once a week. And then me going to boarding school on the sports scholarship, having practiced 3 times a week was huge. Like I thought it was awesome, and I thought that was a lot of practice. But then when I came out to America and playing college, you know, sports, it's really full on. Like you really don't get a break from it. Sunday you get a break from it, but we tend to go as a football team to the local church and do community services and stuff. So it's really you're really 7 days a week with the team, you know.
And how did you adapt to that?
Oh, it's easy for me. I love sports. I love being around my bros. I love working out. You know, it's addicting to me. I love going to the gym. I love running. I love hitting, like we talked about. I love kicking. So everything was easy for me to do. It was just fun to be able to get a full scholarship and to get meals paid for me and stuff, to just do that. That was the easy part for me.
And I guess my thinking is, do you think that that's something, that sort of lifestyle that you're talking about now, do you think that's something that could be implemented in the UK? Because like you said, you were maybe 3 days a week, and that was a lot. But do you think we would see better results from our athletes in multiple sports? It doesn't have to be just, you know, rugby, but say for example football or athletics. Do you think if we had that same level of commitment, I guess is the way that I'm sort of viewing it, that we would see a better result?
That's a really good question, because I don't really I don't know, because everybody's different, and you really got to have a certain mindset to stick in at a level like this and to enjoy it. I've seen a couple of people that have gone through the first 3 months or 2 months of being in this sort of area, and they've left because it's just not for them. I think maybe once a week practice might not be enough, but it was still really fun with my mates. But for rugby and boarding school, 3 practices a week was great, because we had high intensity Monday, Tuesday, like touch on Thursday, then we would go to the game on Saturday. So I like that too. But with the football, with the reason there's so much more practice, because there's so much more to learn with the plays and stuff as well. Like, I take my hats off to the QB. I take my hats off to every position on the football field, because the plays that they learn are just crazy compared to, rugby or some of the sports that we're used to in Scotland. They look on the sideline and they look at a bunch of hand signals and already know what they're going to run, but then if you see it's not there, look at the QB will then do a hand signal, and that's like an audible to do something else, and my brain was already fried just thinking about those two things. So. I was just happy that I was a part of the team, and the only thing I had to think about is where to kick it, left or right.
I guess though, to give yourself, a credit, like it's such a undervalued position. I don't mean that to sound bad, but the importance of getting the kicker right and the punter right versus if you don't get it right, it has a huge difference on the overall game. Like, I think special teams maybe doesn't get the love that it deserves.
Yeah, I never had that problem at this school. I got lots of love from everybody. Special teams taken very seriously. Definitely was shown as a valuable member of the team. And, I like to prove myself in the field too. So when it came to winter conditioning or weightlifting, I felt like I wasn't like, for say, some specialists would be. I really enjoyed lifting I'd lift with the linebackers, and I'd run with the receivers and stuff, because I just loved it. So I've tried to earn my respect in different ways, and then also on the field. But my position, you get to change the field position for the defense. So the defensive guys all seem to really like me, and if the offense don't score and I convert the points, then everybody's happy. So I just make sure I do my job as best as possible and for the team.
That's fair, and I think you're spot on there. It's obviously about the full team. When you're speaking about running with the receivers, have you ever timed yourself doing a 40-yard dash?
I actually haven't, but one thing I've noticed is with the 40, it's quite challenging, because it's really you can have really good game speed and either not get caught on the football field, or make great tackles and great closing speed. But if you don't have the right technique for a 40, you won't have a fast 40. So that's actually what I'm working on right now a little bit too, is just getting that technique right, and especially the start. I'll hear a lot of people say the start is the most important part of the 40, and then you finish through. So I'll be interested to see where I'm at, but I don't think I'll be too slow.
So looking ahead then, what team or coach would you most like to play for in the NFL? If you had a blank slate and you could pick anywhere to go.
It'd be anybody.
The sensible answer. What about
absolutely anybody? Anybody who sees that gives me an opportunity is going to get 110% of me all the time. So that's just my mindset for that.
So how does that? So that's a bit that we don't see very much of the process at all when it comes to the off season over here. So how does that work for you? You've got the draft, and then which, I mean, we're hoping you'll get picked up on, in the draft. But if not, does your agent help shape what happens immediately after that?
Yeah, my agent has been working wonders for me. I really got lucky with this guy. He's such a great guy, and he's been talking to a whole bunch of people for me. And so when it comes to that sort of area, I kind of just leave it in his hands, and he does all the talking and the working out for me. And I'm quite wet behind the ears when it comes to this aspect of the game, because I've not had a family member that's been through it. I don't really have any friends that have been through it. I just have a couple of people that I know who have, and I've maybe asked them some questions, and that's really how I managed to get in contact with this agent. And so he's he calls me every day to see how I'm doing. He sometimes calls me more than once a day to tell me what's been going on and stuff. And wherever he tells me to go, and do, I go and do it. And it's all been going the right direction so far. So I'm really pleased with that.
That's awesome to hear.
And do you think having that sort of agent is more important when you're coming out of a college like you are, that maybe doesn't have as rich a draft history as other colleges?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because I was really, when it came out the other end of my last game of the season, I was just so clueless on what I had to do. The only thing I had my mind set on is the pro day, because I didn't know what else to go to. And but then it turns out my school wasn't having a pro day. So then I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do then. And then I got invited to a couple of specific kicking combines in Arizona, but then I wasn't sure whether I should go to them or not. So just getting in contact with this agent, which is perfect, because I just put the ball in his court and he's been running with it. So I'm really happy that I got him.
That's awesome. And obviously over here, all of us are hoping that it really works out for you. One thing I was sort of interested in was so the last player to get drafted from Arkansas was Teron Armstead. Have you ever reached out to him, or have you spoken to him?
I've actually never talked to him. One of the guys I did talk to that gave me a lot of great advice. He actually played here in the 2012 season when they won the SWAC championship too as a receiver. He came to one of my homecoming games when I was a sophomore, and even when he came in, he just had that kind of bubble around him, like everybody wanted to talk to him and stuff. So obviously, I was like, he must be important. And he after a couple of punts, he had told me, he said, I think you've got a chance to make it to the NFL. And this was about 2.5 years ago. And so when I came out of the other end of the season, I just thought, maybe I'll give him a text. And I texted him. His name's Ray. On his Instagram, his name's Ray Blinky, but I'm pretty sure his full name's Ray Weber, and he played 5 years in the NFL. And he's the one that put me in touch with my agent and has been helping me out as well. So he gave me a lot of advice on what to do and what not to do, social media, everything. So I've just been listening to everything they say.
And that must be like so valuable, that sort of contact with someone that's, I guess, lived the dream and being in the NFL and being about it and been through the process that hopefully you'll go through.
Right. It's awesome, because then I'm just like a sponge right now. To be honest, I'm just soaking in as much information I can from people who have been in the NFL. The do's and don'ts. How to come across and everything. So I'm just constantly learning right now.
Awesome. Well, Jamie, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been awesome hearing everything about what you've done over the last few years and where it's going to go from here. We obviously wish you all the best of luck when it comes to the draft, and we hope to see your name called and representing Scotland in the NFL. It'll be awesome.
Oh yeah, thanks very much. That means a lot. So I'm looking forward to it too. So hopefully, maybe we get some more. Keep in touch and stuff in the future and see what's going on.
Nice
Definitely,
one, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and best luck from all of us.
Thank you.
Take care.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.